Hello my dear simmers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to dive into the brand new fighter jet by CJS Simulation, one of the most iconic of our time, the one, the only, the Rafale. The video will be divided into chapters as usual, with the final conclusion to try to answer the most important question of all: is it fun to fly? For the little backstory, the trailer you saw since Tuesday evening was actually intended for the reviews intro. Still, as it was finished with the beautiful mistake that are left in the title, go ahead my French friends, you can check it out. Well, since it was ready, I showed it to CJ, who loved it, and it became the announcement trailer for the release date. But I kept it here because that was the original plan. As you know, the reviews on the channel are done to give a concise opinion in 10 to 20 minute video and are not meant to show everything. There will be a complete guide of the aircraft coming out at the same time. It goes without saying that I've been expecting a lot from this aircraft since its announcement at the beginning of July, and I'm setting the bar very high. Of course, before we start, I have to specify that I've been flying with this aircraft thanks to CJS Simulation for a few months with a beta version, and my opinion during this review is completely biased, since it was even before CJ made it into Microsoft Flight Simulator. It was already my favorite plane before. But rest assured, it won't stop me from making 2 or 3 critiques. CJS Simulations offers us 2 versions of the Rafale out of the 3 existing ones, the C and the M for $35. The model C corresponds to the French Air Force and Space, and the M version is for the marine version of the aircraft, which means it's capable of taking off and landing from an aircraft carrier. And for the little anecdote, the Rafale is the only foreign fighter jet in the world allowed to land on a US aircraft carrier. The differences between the C and the M are minimal. The M logically has a reinforced landing gear to withstand the impact of the catapult on the aircraft carrier, a landing hook, a watch, and an automatic ladder that couldn't be added in this version, and I will explain why later in the video. So we have 2 models. The third one, the 2-seater Rafale, being too demanding to model in Microsoft Flight Simulator due to the number of screens it would have involved, enough to crash any console or average PCs. With these 2 versions, we discover a nice number of liveries, since there are 29 in total, all made with great care, especially with RKM Studios. A big thanks for their efforts. And all I can say is that the ones you see here are from the last. And one last clarification before we start: it must be emphasized that the Rafale is an operational aircraft. It's the fighter jet that protects France, and therefore many pieces of information about it are classified. And that's perfectly normal. CJS Simulation based all its work on information known to the public and strictly wanted to respect this aspect, otherwise the aircraft wouldn't stay available in the game for very long. Oh yes, and if you are wondering about the difference between the normal and the S and S versions, the normal one has subsonic tanks, while the other one has supersonic tanks. External tanks, of course. Alright, let's get started. In this review, we will tackle the M version of the Rafale, the most complex, since we will have also to test the maritime capabilities of the aircraft. And how not to start at the Landivisiau base, one of the mythical French bases that notably houses the 11F, 12F and 17F squadrons of carrier-based fighters. Let's start from cold for an inspection before takeoff, and let's thank all the virtual mechanics who maintained the aircraft to be ready for takeoff. As you can see, the work done on the model is incredible, and when compared to the eventful release of last week with Heat Blur and Indian Fox Echo, which offered a very well crafted F-14, I think everyone agrees on this point. Well, this is what happens when you compare the two. On this screen you have a big mishmash of pixels, and on this one an absolutely incredible definition, even if you stick your nose on the fuselage. People who love the Rafale will notice some small details, like the specific inclination of the Rafale M to help during the catapult phase. As I mentioned in the introduction, a reinforced and wider front gear on this model. Regarding the automated ladder of the Rafale M, it is currently not available. I don't know if it will be there one day. Despite my repeated request, sorry CJ for bothering you with that all the time, the problem is that the pack is already at the maximum of what is possible on console, and adding any new small element was impossible. Quality comes with its price, and the same goes for chokes and all the stuff we have usually. Alright, let's climb into the cockpit. The first thing that strikes in the Rafale cockpit is its simplicity and dominance of the sensor screen. As I had the chance to see the cockpit up close this year in real life, I can tell you that the result is sensational. As for the exterior, here you won't find a single graphical flaw. The textures are of incredible quality. It feels like you could almost touch the materials because they are so realistic. And even zooming in to the maximum, no big pixel mess. The quality of the screens is also perfect. The HUD, all the details you find in the cockpit suffer no reproach. My only small regret for this M version is that it's a bit too clean to my taste, especially considering the exterior aspect of the M version, which is a bit dirtier due to the maritime environment. I would have liked to see a bit more wear and tear here and there in the cockpit, but well, it's just a matter of taste. So, this chapter is going to be complicated because, for the moment, the decision has been made by a community vote to not wait for the sound pack of the Rafale, which is made by Sim Acoustic, probably the best sound capture company, but which has months and months of delay. So CJ asked the community if he should still delay the aircraft more and wait for the sound pack, or if he release it with the Typhoon sound pack. The decision was made to release the Rafale with the Typhoon sound pack, and an update will come in January, probably, with the real sound of the Rafale. So for now, I will skip the Rafale sound chapter. We know the Typhoon sounds, they are the best in Microsoft Flight Simulator for fighter jet, so that's fine. On the animations, there is not a lot to say because there is not a lot of things animated. Everything is perfect. And maybe I can make a small critic for the closing of the canopy, because normally the canopy will descend and engage in the locks by sliding forward, but that's not the case here. But honestly, I think 99% of people don't know this and will not notice it. Also to mention, in the animation, we have the FSO, the front optronic, which is animated via the radar menu. That's a very nice detail for the immersion. The Rafale is a delta wing aircraft, and a delta wing aircraft model will always be a peculiar model, and that's what many people don't understand when I see some criticisms made of the Typhoon. Well, yes guys, but a delta wing doesn't fly like a conventional aircraft, and at low speed things become more delicate. That's why the canards are here. Personally, I think that the Typhoon was, before the Rafale's release, the best fighter jet in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The calculation of data for managing the aircraft's flight is excellent, and it's the same for the Rafale. Extremely maneuverable, powerful but not too much. We really find the same sensations and flight characteristics described by Rafale pilots who have a YouTube channel. This chapter is flawless from my point of view, but obviously I have never flown a Rafale, so I cannot tell you if it reproduces the real sensations as accurately as possible. I really hope Ate will review the aircraft to tell us more, and honestly it would be good for his channel to take a break from all the news from the past few months. Anyway, let's get back to our aircraft. We can almost perform the same maneuvers in the same conditions as what we saw from the Rafale Solo display this year, and it's all super fun. It's one of the best fighter jets in the world, and you can feel it immediately when you fly with it. It's easy, it's impressive, and it's demanding all at once. I think this is the most impressive part of the aircraft, since CJS Simulations has entirely created a system for the aircraft based on the public available data. There are obviously many functions that are not usable for the moment, like the terrain following. It doesn't exist yet in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and other features related to the various types of radar that the Rafale has. The sensor screen, the centerpiece of the cockpit, is magnificent and offers a nice range of options. Oh yes, and I didn't mention, but you can also customize all the screens according to your taste via the menu, but that will be for another video. Even if the systems are quite complex, as in all fighter jets, the user interface of the screen is extremely well thought out, making the aircraft super easy to understand, which is not always the case. The Xbox version, even optimized to the maximum, is still very demanding. If you fly on standard airports, there is absolutely no problem, and it's the same for 80% of the add-on. Here, I tested it at the Belfast International Airport by Parig, and I just had a very little slowdown. However, on a very large add-on, but this is not specific to the Rafale, it's true for all aircraft that pushes the console to the maximum, like the 737 or even the default Dreamliner and many others. Let's not list them all. If you want to depart from a big airport like Midlands or KLX, by Nibills or JFK, even worse, there is a 50-50 chance that it will end up in a CTD, unfortunately. The positive side of military aircraft is that they don't take off from large civilian airports, so everyone should be fine if you keep that in mind. And here we are at the conclusion. We have seen that the graphics suffer no reproach, with liveries that are all more beautiful than the others, and the same goes for almost all the points we have covered in this review. So with much quality and so few flaws, CJS Simulations Rafale is for me the best fighter jet available today in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Is it fun to fly? Oh yes, absolutely. It's even the most fun of all. Is it worth buying? Well, the real question to ask is, what are you waiting for? Alright friends, let's go. I have to go patrol in Romania and I will see you soon on the channel. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the content of this completely biased video and that it still allowed you to form an opinion. Feel free to leave advice or criticisms in the comments. See you soon on the channel. Have a good day. Bye bye. And sorry for the voice, I'm quite sick, but it's getting better. Thank you.